Okay, today we'll look at the Tokyo Olympics, in particular China. This is the Chinese team. They sent about 400 athletes to the Tokyo Olympics. So they are the third largest team. The largest team is United States, over 600 athletes. Chinese is of over 400 athletes. It consists of 288 female athletes and 124 male athletes. So the female is more than double of the male. So the female athletes participate in all women games, but the men isn't. So men are missing from basketball, football, hockey, judo, karate, marathon swimming, rugby, sevens, skateboarding, tennis, triathlon, volleyball, water polo, etc. So China team is not present in every game. It's just the women's are. The Chinese women team is much stronger than the men team. This is the first goal of the Tokyo Olympic, and this young girl is an undergraduate at Tsinghua University, and she win gold in the air rifle. So this is in the first day. Why I put her twice?
The first gold medal of the Tokyo Olympics goes to Qian Yang from China, after the 21-year-old came out on top in the women's 10-meter air rifle competition. Yang narrowly beat out Russia's Anastasia Galashina and set an Olympic record. The bronze medal went to Swiss shooter Nina Krissen. Yang jubilantly held up her medal during the ceremony, along with a small bouquet of flowers. Due to coronavirus protocols, medals were passed to the winners on a tray, and they placed them around their own necks. Usually, a dignitary would put the medals on the winners. Mary Tucker from the US took 6th place in the competition. The field was fairly open, with none of the medalists in this event from the 2016 Rio Games competing. It was a disappointing day for the competitor from Norway. Jeanette Haig broke an Olympic record during the qualification round, but ultimately finished 4th. In the event, shooters stand 10 meters, almost 33 feet, from a stationary target and fire at it with an air rifle. In other shooting events, competitors use different kinds of firearms, fire from positions including kneeling or lying on the ground, shoot at targets from different distances, or take aim at moving targets.
What? Okay, so the target is about the size of our 20 cents coin from 10 meters. So it's really difficult. I don't think if I'm there, I can even hit the target. Okay, we'll look at how the Chinese train their Olympians. This particular one is taken from 2015 by The Economist.
In August, the world will come together in the Brazilian city of Rio de Janeiro for the 31st Olympic Games. The global competition will be gripping, but which country will top the medal table? One nation battling for supremacy will be the People's Republic of China. Western media is rarely granted access to China's secretive Olympic training camps.
有点吃力了以后，往下一掉以后，那个位移一个我看了一下，形态上面来讲，落到一半的时候开始有点软。当然，你一个代表团的那个奖牌榜肯定是各个项目这个一个项目累积起来的，所以对于我们具体的项目来说，肯定是既然去参加，肯定是要争取做最好的成绩。
The Chinese have a plan for knocking America off the top of the medal table in Rio, a ruthless focus on events that play to their strengths, and they're not in track and field.
我觉得中国人比较在乎的是技术方面嘛，但是我觉得美国人啊，就是身体的那种结构比较好，像那种黑人呐、那种人高的人，肌肉都很好，所以我们能赶上的话也是一种荣幸嘛。但是还是有点差距的，我觉得还是有点差距。
Only 2 men will be chosen to represent China at trampoline in Rio. 23-year-old Gao Lei is tipped to be one of them.
我是7岁选的，因为小时候读书成绩有点差，所以我爸又是做教练的。
His coach has already produced 2 gold medal winners in this event.
运动员训练了这么长时间了，他有这个机会，他肯定想表现一下。
Picked at a young age, Gao Lei is a product of the world's largest mass recruitment and sports training program. 51,000 athletes are currently training at elite national and regional institutes like this one. And a further 400,000 children are housed in local Olympic schools across the country. Hongzhou is 800 miles south of Beijing. Children at this training school are recruited from 6 years old. Jin Wenxi has been in intensive training for 3 years, but she's still only 9 and yet to dream of the Olympics.
我想要什么？我想让妈妈长生不老。我想妈妈说，如果我得到金牌奖杯的话，第1名，她说她要给我买平板，所以我想得第1名，这样以后可以拥有平板电脑。
Recruiters like Shen Chen visit hundreds of towns and villages in their regions, testing thousands of small children against a host of specific physiological criteria.
如果说等到你大了，然后你的身体素质没有那种专业的那种能力的话，一下子再进入这种训练，你接受不了。
It's a scientific approach, from height and weight to muscle mass and posture. Jin Wenxi displays early signs of an Olympic champion.
腹肌不错啊，背肌能力也很强啊，然后再看看他的腿部弹跳力啊，这个稳定能力啊，各方面都还可以。
She has the physical attributes for trampoline, but children are tested for many different events.
看看他有没有足够的这个反应能力和那个接收能力，那这就一个比较全面的选材的标准啊。先是形态，然后是能力啊，然后再是他的思想状况。
In 2013 alone, China pumped more than $1 billion into the national Olympic training infrastructure, significantly more than any other government. Critics say intensive training programs like these are tantamount to child abuse. But the coaches here argue these children are getting far better education and opportunity than others.
他们的父母亲把他们送到我手里来训练，我要对他们负责任，要浪费掉了，那这是我自己给自己的压力，而不是说。 当然，美国它确实很先进，这个东西要超越也不是那么容易。当然，大部分人应该还是会有这个想法，想要。
The chances of these children making it to the Olympics are statistically very small. But if they can avoid injury and make the national team, the reward can be life-changing. Gold winners are usually offered a high-ranking government job and will receive around $200,000 in prize money.
我现在自己的梦想就是特别想得到奥运会冠军。运动员一生当中也不一定有一次机会，像我现在离那个高点那么近了，拼一下，还是奥运会冠军。
Olympic medals don't come cheap.
我觉得我最大的牺牲就是童年的快乐，因为我们从小就开始练体育了嘛，而且现在有的时候看看电视啊，外面那种找工作的人脑子都特别好，知识量很丰富。像我们这种一味的只有拼劲的话，在外面还是挺难生存的。
Okay, so what? Is the same one or okay? This one. So we fast forward to this year, and then we look at how the Chinese train their gymnastics Olympians.
She didn't want you staying. Right.
想夺世界亚军。我感觉我练的还不错，所以我就想拼命的练，夺亚军。
Be a runner-up.
第一，我也不知道什么职业。
But she's settled in there, hasn't she? She's still not. Yeah. And hopefully, yeah, I mean, we can push them down there. Ultimately,
我们的心态，要比以前好多了。以前的话，年轻的时候肯定很希望不断的出很多的冠军，是不是？但是我们现在的话，社会也在变化，人也在变化，思想也在变化，所以呢，我们的训练模式也在变化。那现在很多家长呢，他不一定要走这个专业和竞技这条路。如果你老搬着以前的方式训练的话，那是不行的。我感觉他从来不在我觉得挺好的。他自己，我自己感觉心疼，但是我不会表现在脸上。我就是说，加油。最低的期望就是，就是强身健体嘛，也没什么。然后最高的期望，越高越好嘛。
Okay, and I will show you a extraordinary successful women's 10-meter dive. This girl is only 14 on March this year. So if the Olympics wasn't delayed for 1 year, she won't even have the qualification to participate, because the minimum age for the Olympics diving, I don't know whether it also apply to other disciplines, is 14 years old. So in her finals, 5 dives from the 10-meter platform, she scored 3 perfect dives. That means all the judges give her a score 10, the maximum mark it can be given, except the last dive, the number 5. The 5th dive, one of the judge give her 9.5, whereas all the other 6 judges give her 10. So let's look at these 3 perfect dives. Her name is, of course, from the English, we put the share name in the back. But if you, in the Chinese, we put the share name in the front. So her Chinese name is Chun Hong Sim. Hong Xun Xin. So here is an interview after the win.
知道你自己这一套动作满分是多少吗
？366点多少忘记了。
不知道自己这套满分是多少？你这套动作满分是477分，你今天跳了多少分？你知道吗
？466。
那非常高的分数了，是吧？你知道你不小心打破了一个这个历史的，创造一个历史记录，就是你是女子跳台单场的最高分。
是吗？
有没有觉得自己特别厉害？那今天怎么做到的？3个动作都满分。
Okay, unfortunately, this is in Mandarin, so I don't have the ability to do immediate translation. So let's move on to the. Now, basically, it is the interview done by the CGTN, the Chinese Global Television Network. So obviously, she has already got her gold medals. And so this is an interview after the fact. Ask her, do you know that you have made an Olympic record? She got the highest score of a women 10-meter diving. She didn't know that. I asked her, "Would you like it?" Yeah, yes, of course. And there is a good story behind this girl. So I will tell the story after I do the other slides first. This is the final Olympic medal table. United States has 39 gold, 41 silver, and 33 bronze. China, 38 gold, 32 silver, and 18 bronze. And then come Japan, Great Britain, etc. And Australia, we have only a little bit more than 20 million people, but we have 17 gold, 7 silver, and 22 bronze. We did a very good job in any measure. So we should be proud of ourselves. And then I come from Hong Kong. So Hong Kong has the chance of raising the Chinese flag and the Hong Kong flag together. In this particular one, Hong Kong win a bronze and the Chinese win a gold. So of course, they cut off the second winner's flag. Okay, now let me stop this and then tell you the story of that Chun Hongyong, Hong Chen Chun. She come from a farmer family. Her parents poor. She is the second of 5 children. So although the Chinese have one child policy, obviously their family has more than 1 children. Okay, she is second of her siblings. Her mother has some illness and then another traffic accident. So her father has to take care of the whole family. So their financial situation is not that great. She said she doesn't like studying. She doesn't like books. So she thinks if she joined the diving team, she doesn't have to study. That's her reason to join. But obviously not. The diving teams, if after evening, they still have to do the academic work on a degree. But obviously, China's want all our children to be literate, so they will have their education anyway. Because of that, she is very motivated to win in order to get some prize money in order to have her mother's illness taken care of. She was selected into the local diving team when she was about 7. And they have been competing in the local teams for a while. She was noticed only about 1 year ago by the national team when she represented the Guangdong province in diving. So she was recruited from the Guangdong squad into the national squad about 1 year ago. And the Olympics is her first international competition. She haven't been to any international competition before. So for the diving world, she is a complete unknown. As I have said, the minimum age for diving, at least for this particular discipline, diving, is 14. So she is 14 this March. So she just barely make it. If the Olympics was held last year, she can't make the team because of her age. She learned all the 5 dives 3 weeks before the start of the Olympics. 3 weeks to know, and then she did 3 perfect dives out of the 5. It is pure talent, okay? But the amount of physical exercise is also staggering. So in one of the interview, people ask how much you train. So on land, dry jumping, okay, jumping or doing somersault, etc. on the ground, instead jumping into water. She will do about 300 to 400 such jumps per day. Wow. Okay. 300 to 400 jumps every day, excluding all the muscle training, etc. So that's doing somersaults. Okay. In terms of actual dive, that means she have to climb up to that 10 meters platform and then jump down. On average, of course, not every jump is from the 10 meters platform. She also will be training on the 3 meters springboard, etc. But she will do about 120 jumps per day into the water. So you can imagine the amount of exercise and physical put into these young people in order to achieve the Olympic Games. Remember in the two videos I show you, the what's called the one doing talking in the video, they talk about the chance of making into Olympics is very slim statistically. Yes, that's true for everywhere in the world, including our Olympians. So yes, that is true. The chance of making to be Olympians. Consider China has almost 1.4 billion people, and it sent a athletic team of 400 something people. Yes, the chances are very, very slim. So is anywhere in the world. So I don't think that is something particular. And given we have China had 1.4 billion people, so in order to find the talents and find the children who are motivated, they have to scout through the whole China and give every children a chance. And therefore they send out interviewers and the selectors in everywhere in China, and then group them together. And then the training obviously will have to be in different levels, just like us here in Australia. I remember my daughter is a swimmer here. So she started swimming at about 3 years old, and then 5. Okay, 5. My wife correct me. It's 5 years old. Okay, started swimming at about 5, and then she liked competition, and therefore we enroll her into a swimming squad, and then she progressed through there. And for the most of the training at her level is morning before school, and then after school and other training sessions, about 2 sessions per day. And then for weekends, usually local competition and so forth. So in terms of all the elite athletes, the amount of training is huge. So are our swimmers, right? Our swimmers will be training in our national squad. In the normal days, during the whole season, they will be training in their local swimming club, representing the local club. And then when we have national competitions, they will represent the states. When they are going out for international competition, they will be swimming for Australian national team. Obviously, if you are good at one of these, there's prize money. Now, I don't know how much prize money for a gold medal in Australia here, but I know that for Hong Kong, if you win a gold medal, the Hong Kong government will give you a prize of 1 million Hong Kong dollars. Not much. 1 million Hong Kong dollars is about 200,000, about 200,000 Australian. But I don't know how much prize money our Olympian gets. Besides that, they also have a lot of sponsorships. So one way out is, of course, being top at the elite level. But obviously, there's a lot of hard work. So whether China is training their children exceptionally compared with other countries, I don't think so. All countries do select athletes from very young, because this is where they can grow with the sport. They will be trained from young. I read a book called The Outliers by Gladwell. Is that? I can't remember. Malcolm Gladwell. Okay. He wrote a book called The Outliers. In that he described the Canada ice hockey team. There is a very strange in the national ice hockey team. All the team members are born at the beginning of the year. There is almost no national hockey team members who are born in the later months of the year. Interesting, isn't it? So he gave an explanation. The explanation goes like this. These hockey teams obviously will start young, just like any sporting club in Australia here. We have local swimming clubs getting local competitions. In the age level competitions, there's always a age cutoff date. The Canada's ice hockey local levels age cutoff day is 31st December of the year. That means if you are born in the same year, you compete in the same level. What that means is that you are competing with someone who is born in the same year as you, who are born in January. So if you are born in December, you are competing with those born in January. That is a almost 11 months difference in terms of physical abilities. Young children, their physical abilities grow with the age. But if you are at the age of your birthday is in December, you are in the same level with somebody who is in January, and therefore your performance is obviously not as good as those in January because of your physical ability, and therefore you are a lot less likely to be selected into the highest squad. For example, within a club, you may have a number of teams, but you are representing the club, then the club will select the strongest player from the same age group. And obviously, that will be the older ones in the same age level, meaning those in January, February, etc. And therefore, my wife is interrupting me, so she broke my thought train. Anyway, yes, as you are representing your club, you will get extra training. Obviously, you want your club to do well. Okay. So if you are winning in that age level, then you will representing your state, for example, and then the state will obviously select those in the same age group with better performance to be selected into the state team. Again, that will be the older children. So the older children will have more training, and all that goes. Every year, all the older children will have more training than the children who are born in the later months of the year. And therefore, by the time they reach national team, all those players will all be from the early months of the years. So that is what Malcolm Gladwell in his Outliers book said. Ginny, I'm doing a but you tell what's not true. This is the Canadian ice hockey. So that's why the month of the month of the year you are born dictates your opportunities, whether it's fair or not. Anyway, any other questions?
Yeah, the kids that or the kids for whatever training, the ones that they said before that the ones that don't make it find it difficult because they've got no or little education. What happens with them?
They have education. They have a lot of training, but you saw in the video, they also do their homework in the gym.
Okay.
So they do have education, but obviously the education will not be as academic as the normal children. Put it that way. But they have their education in terms of their. Now the other issue is, of course, after their career, their sporting career cannot last forever. You at some point, your physical strength, etc., will start to deteriorate, and newcomers will be coming up. So for champions, you have only a certain lifespan in terms of sport. So the other issue now for I think for any national sporting bodies should be considering what happens after the retirement from the sport. You have to start giving them skills after the sport. So that is now included in the Chinese program. They have to consider, well, if you are doing diving, for example, diving is one of the sport which has the longest lifespan, so to speak. But still, the issue is what's after that. So at the moment, for diving, there are two possible outcomes later on. One is remain in the sport as the judge, because after all, you need people who had experience in the sport to judge. Diving is scored by judges, so the training of judges might be one way for these athletes out. Another, of course, is going to become coaches to coach the next generation. And then another group is to help them with entrepreneurial techniques. So there are a number of sporting brands which name after athletes. Another issue is for those who are camera friendly, they can go to commentate, becomes sport reporters, etc. So they are now considering different options after these people retire from their sport.
With the children that are being trained so young, China's a very big country. Do they have many training centres for diving, for gymnastics, for throughout the whole country? Because these children wouldn't see their parents very often otherwise.
Yes, they will have local training, just like what happened here. We have local sport clubs. So is China. There will be local sports club where the children can go. But obviously, when you move up into national level, then you will spend quite a bit of time in Beijing rather than locally, and they will be away from their family. That's true, but that's only when you are really at the national level. And then if you are at that level, then obviously the parents visiting them is also quite easy. After all, China is renowned for its high-speed rail, so
yes.
Not a big issue for visiting. And then especially today, the communication is so good. They can always use online video with their family. So yes, at the peak level, they will have to move to a different city. Even at the province level, some of them come from the village, so they will have to move, for example, from the village into the capital of the province. But still, there's not too far away. A few hours train, I think it's okay if they want to go back home. But obviously, they will be taken care of by the training institutes. So are these also the schools. The Chinese schools is boarding school. even a primary school. All Chinese schools are basically boarding school, except those in the city where the children are very close to their family. So this is quite different. Especially for the villages. Most of the villages, the village doesn't have sufficient people to hold a school, so the children might have to, say, walk 2 or 3 hours to school. That is not possible for every day doing that. So they have to do boarding school. And boarding school also take care of their nutrition values as well.
Thank you.
Okay, no more question?
Albert, I've got a question.
Yep.
I was reading something recently saying about how the Chinese, it was a survey of buying their own brands to overseas brands. And there's been a change in recent years that a lot more Chinese are looking to buy their own brands. Now, as far as sporting equipment, you've got Nike and these sorts of companies. A lot of our athletes, they basically through sponsorship is how they make their real money. Do you feel that this is the way that it'll go in China? You gave an indication that they do get prize money if they win an Olympic, but I didn't notice the Chinese, what sort of shoes and things they had on, but are they moving towards sponsoring their own sporting equipment?
Yeah, it's moving in that direction at the moment. For example, one of the famous sport brand in China is Li Ling. Li Ling is a gymnast who I think who made a gold medal in Olympics as well. So he has a body name, the chain, and obviously all these Nike, Adidas, etc. all sell very well in China, except recently. Recently, you know, remember we talk about in the media. There's a lot about the Xinjiang region. Xinjiang region is one of those agricultural main region in China, especially Xinjiang cotton. So the West media is now propagating a rumor that the cotton in Xinjiang is farmed by forced labor. And therefore a number of companies will boycott Xinjiang cotton. For example, Adidas, Puma, Nike all did that. And there is a backlash from the Chinese consumer. They are moving to Li Ling brand instead of this Adidas brand, etc. So they are losing a lot of market share in China because of their boycott of Xinjiang cotton.
So there'll be more sponsorship of their athletes by these big companies.
Yes, eventually, yes. We will start to see that as these companies getting learning all the techniques in advertisement from the West. They are learning, so they will be moving the same. I think so, at least unless they come up with another model of events of advertising their brand. Otherwise, I think sponsoring a major events will be one way to promote their brand. I think they will do that. Yeah. Any more?
It was a pleasure to see them, the athletes.
Yeah.
It cheered us up a bit.
I think I want to okay, before we end, suppression of the water splash. You see the do you want to see the jumps again? And then we'll talk about the splash. You see very little water being splashed from a 10-meter dive, right?
Yes, yeah. They mustn't make a splash.
Yeah. How do they do that?
Straight. They got to come vertical.
Yeah.
Point of entry.
The point of entry. Okay. Now, we think that if you put your hand like that, you create a sharp edge, you will minimize your splash, right? I will show you the jump again. You will see it is not the case.
Oh.
Oh.
Hmm.
So let me just share the screen again. And then move back a little bit. Here, one of the commentators explained the Chinese ability to suppress the water splash. And people starting to look at it in slow motion and notice they're not doing that way. Doing it that way. A blunt entry rather than a sharp entry. Counterintuitive, but quite interesting.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of minor details there. Next time I want to, I don't know what I'm talking about next time, but I have selected a few training videos as well. So I probably will show you a few training videos from China and then coupled with something else.
Always good.
Okay, I think we will still be
Zooming.
Zooming.
We'll be zooming.
Zooming.
We'll be zooming.
There's
Zooming,
no way
zooming.
we'll open up on Thursday.
Yeah.
No way.
No way. So we will be still zooming next week. Okay, see you then.
See you later.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thanks,
Thank
Albert.
you. It was great.
Thank you.
Bye.